Therapists charge hundreds of dollars per hour to guide people through a process your brain is already running automatically every single day. The difference is not access to the mechanism. The difference is whether you are directing it or being shaped by it without realizing it. Modern psychology calls it cognitive restructuring. It sounds technical, but the system underneath is simple and constant. Your thoughts generate emotional states. Those emotional states influence your decisions. Those decisions become behavior patterns. And when the same thoughts repeat consistently, your brain wires that sequence into a default response. This is not something you turn on. It is already active, right now. What most people never realize is that this exact system was already defined with precise instructions long before psychology gave it a name. The gap is not knowledge. The gap is structured execution. Most people treat Philippians 4:8 as encouragement, something soft and reassuring when they feel overwhelmed. That interpretation is the reason it does not work. It was never written as comfort. It was written as control. Because asking for peace does not retrain a conditioned mind. It interrupts the moment temporarily, but the pattern remains unchanged. Then the same thoughts return, the same reactions follow, and the cycle repeats. That is why the instruction does not stop at "do not be anxious." It immediately continues with a process. Whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, think about such things. That is not descriptive language. That is a filtering system. It tells you exactly what to allow and what to reject. Your mind is not passive. It is constantly filtering, selecting, and reinforcing input whether you control it or not. Every thought you hold strengthens a pathway or weakens it. There is no neutral state. When you replay worst-case scenarios, your brain does not label them as imaginary. It responds as if they are real. Your heart rate increases. Stress chemicals are released. Your body prepares for a threat that is not present. That reaction feels uncontrollable, but it is not random. It is trained repetition. And anything built through repetition can be rebuilt using the same mechanism with different input. The instruction is not to think positive. The instruction is to think accurately, deliberately, and repeatedly. This is where most people lose control of the system. They notice a thought, then they argue with it, analyze it, or try to suppress it. That increases its strength, because attention is reinforcement. The more you engage a thought, even negatively, the more your brain marks it as important. The system does not care if the attention is positive or negative. It only tracks repetition and intensity. So resistance often deepens the loop instead of breaking it. The alternative is not resistance, it is redirection. Another instruction defines this precisely. Take every thought captive. That does not mean eliminate thoughts. That is not possible. It means intercept them and redirect them into a different structure. You are not stopping the system, you are changing its input stream. Each filter in Philippians 4:8 functions as a checkpoint that forces evaluation before reinforcement. Is this thought true, or is it a projection of fear? Is it noble, or is it lowering your standard of thinking? Is it right, or is it distorting what is actually happening? Is it pure, or is it mixed with assumption and exaggeration? Is it admirable, or is it feeding negativity that serves no purpose? This slows the loop down, and speed is what keeps destructive patterns alive. When you slow the loop, you interrupt automatic continuation. When you redirect it, you install a new pattern in its place. Then comes the part that determines whether anything changes or not. Think about such things is not a one-time instruction. It implies repeated return, deliberate focus applied again and again to the same structured thought. This is how neural pathways form. Neuroscience confirms that repetition strengthens connections until they become the dominant route your brain prefers automatically. Without repetition, nothing stabilizes. With repetition, patterns become default. That is why occasional awareness does nothing, but structured repetition changes everything.
Here is the exact application with no ambiguity. When a recurring thought pattern appears, do not debate it, do not follow it, do not expand it. Immediately run it through the filter. If it fails even one category, you do not negotiate with it. You replace it, not later, immediately. Then you repeat the replacement thought out loud or internally for 5 full minutes. Not once, not casually, repeatedly with intention. You are not calming yourself. You are installing a new pattern into your system. You must limit the scope for this to work efficiently. Choose one recurring thought pattern only, not multiple, one, the one that appears most often or creates the strongest reaction. Every time it appears, you apply the same process. Filter it, reject it, replace it, repeat the replacement for 5 minutes. This consistency is what signals your brain to prioritize the new pathway. Do this daily for 21 days to weaken the old pattern's dominance. Continue to 66 days to make the new pattern automatic. At that point, the response begins to trigger without effort. The result is not abstract, it is measurable. Emotional reactions begin to shift because the input generating them has changed. Behavior follows automatically because behavior always follows dominant thought patterns. What felt overwhelming begins to feel neutral, then manageable, then controlled. Peace does not appear randomly. It becomes the natural output of a system that is no longer feeding itself conflict. That is why the outcome is described as the peace of God will be with you, not because something external moved, but because your internal process stopped generating instability. This is the part most people overlook. You are already repeating thoughts daily. That repetition is already shaping your brain whether you direct it or not. The only difference this system introduces is structure. It replaces random repetition with controlled repetition. It replaces reaction with selection. It replaces loops with direction. So start with one pattern. Identify the thought that appears most often and run it through the filter every time it appears. Replace it with a structured alternative that passes the filter. Repeat that replacement for 5 minutes each time. Track the repetition for 21 days. Continue the same process to 66 days. Expect the pattern to shift because it is not optional. The mechanism guarantees the outcome when the process is followed. This is not motivation. This is not theory. This is a system already running. The only decision is whether you take control of it or let it continue shaping you by default.